Welcome back to the Dynasty Citadel. I am back for another live stream. Should have been back for a while, but wanted to just go ahead and get into it. Dane Brugler put out a mock yesterday, 7-round mock, and wanted to talk a little bit about it. Realized it was behind a paywall, so I don't want to necessarily show it, but I will talk about it. And it was some interesting spots, like Genty going 5. I've never seen that, but that definitely will put Travis Etienne out of commission. So let's do this. What I'm going to do, and I thought I was going to share my screen, but I guess not. I was going to share my screen. Let's see. Let me see. There we go. And get and show. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna show the picks that actually took place. So let me go to. I can see. I'm gonna be able to see the mock on my seat. So he had Cam Ward go number 1, which we know most people they have Cam Ward go number 1. So that is totally fine. Let's go ahead and set him here. And Tennessee, I think that's set in stone right now. To be honest with you, he's gonna be the number 1 pick. They're gonna need weapons out there in Tennessee. Honestly. What Cam Ward said, how Calvin Ridley is number 1, and how, who did he say? Treylon Burks. Good Lord, Treylon Burks. I was hoping he was going to be good too. And how he's number 2, or was he number 4? No, it was Ridley, Jamar Jefferson, and Treylon Burks. So I'm pretty sure it's a foregone conclusion that he's going 1, because if he's not, that's going to hurt. Actually, he probably put him on a revenge tour if he didn't go number 1. But we probably know he's going number 1. Travis Hunter, number 2, went to Cleveland. That seems to be pretty set in stone as well. Let me go ahead and put him on here. And with Travis Hunter, but Travis seems like dead set on, playing both corner and receiver. So it's going to be unique because if he plays offense, yeah, I would say if he plays primarily receiver on offense, yeah, we already know he's going to be, not already know, but we're pretty sure he's going to be good. But he's a wild card at this point because you don't know how much on the defensive side he's going to play because everybody was thinking that initially everybody was thinking he was going to play corner and then transition to wide receiver. But now it seems that the Browns GM came out and said that he's going to play more receiver, it seems like, than he would corner. So we just have to see. Because if he's just moonlighting that corner and he plays primarily receiver, yeah, he probably will go 1-2 in just rookie drafts. And just to let people know that might watch this in the future, this is not my rookie draft. I am just putting them in the order that Dane Brugler has them in the mock draft right now. This is not my order. This is just what I'm doing just to show where the draft capital is for this mock right now. So at number 5, Ashton Genty gets taken by Jacksonville. So goes top 5 pick for running backs. More than likely, that means he might be in a committee with Travis Etienne. Bigsby probably get pushed out, but I'm assuming that means Genty's getting majority of the work. It'll probably be either 60-40, 65-35. It'll be somewhere in that type of split in Ashton Genty's favor. So, and then being in Cohen's offense. Yeah, that for Genty. I forgot. Let me go ahead and put him in here. For Genty, that's I think personally that's going to be a good sign. You have him with Trevor Lawrence. You have Brian Thomas on the outside. They potentially will get somebody else here later in the draft. Potentially, I would say you never know. But yeah, that I think Genty anywhere, as long as he doesn't go to the Saints, I think that's the big hiccup. Everybody is just hoping that he doesn't fall there. Because if he goes to the Saints, Kamara's playing. Now, they might have that two-headed monster because Genty's better than what I'm thinking of Mark Ingram and Kamara back in the day. He's better than anything, in my opinion, Mark Ingram was. Because Ingram wasn't really necessarily a pass catcher, but Genty can catch the ball. And Genty's more explosive than Mark Ingram. So that would be... Honestly, it would make for a dynamic running game, but fantasy-wise, we would not like to see that. Now, would that move him out of 1-1? No. In my opinion, Genty is 1-1 no matter what, in this draft anyways. just because of the potential upside. Kamara, this could be his last year. If they took Gentry, it would probably be his last year in New Orleans. Number 9, Ted McMillan goes number 9 to New Orleans. So he's going to be on the opposite of Olave, potential wide receiver 1 upside. Honestly, with Olave being hurt so much, it's just being honest. You never know what you would get on that side. But the rumors are Derek Carr doesn't want to be in New Orleans, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out. Because if Derek Carr doesn't want to be there, and then now we have a situation where they have to take someone like Jackson Dart, but Jackson Dart doesn't seem to be falling into the second round of drafts anymore. So does that leave you like Tyler Shuck? Because I personally think Jalen Milroe will go in the end of the first round, a la Lamar Jackson back in the day. He honestly might go higher than Lamar Jackson. So those 4 quarterbacks may be gone. And if that's the case in the actual NFL draft, who do you really want to take? Or do you go pick up somebody or trade for Kirk Cousins? You can't, because I'm an Atlanta fan, and Atlanta, we would request for a lot for Kirk Cousins to trade him to New Orleans. So do you try to go get Aaron Rodgers? I think that's unlikely, because I'm pretty sure the rumors are he's set in stone with the Steelers, and the Steelers are, I guess, just waiting for the draft. But that would be an interesting situation to go through. Number 10, the next pick, going to Chicago, Tyler Warren. That would honestly move. That would move Kmet. Honestly, that would move Kmet out the way. Yeah, Kmet would be out. Honestly, Kmet would just be out of that. Well, I guess they could do a 2 tight end set, but Ben Johnson is going to want that dominant tight end, and that's definitely Warren. Kmet's good, but he's not Warren at all. I'll tell you that much. So that's going to give. He's probably going to be playing immediately out there. There's a high floor offense. Caleb in his second year. That offense, Ben Johnson offense, is a creative, and we'll see them take a second running back here shortly. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting play. Number 12 to Dallas. That's going to be Matthew Golden. So he'll be wide receiver 2 for sure. He'll be able to play on the outside. I'm not particularly high on Matthew Golden like that, but to go into an offense like that in Dallas, and I'm not sure what the defense is looking like right now, but to go in that type of offense with no great running game just of yet. We'll see a little later on who they take, but yeah, that could be potentially nice. You have Ferguson coming back. You would have CeeDee Lamb there. Dak healthy, hopefully. Yeah, that would make for a very interesting offense to see what happens there. Now, going 14 to Indy will be Colston Loveland. Now, that will give a lot of people pause, to be honest with you, because people don't like Anthony Richardson. But what people need to remember is, if Anthony Richardson isn't good this year, and you're playing Dynasty, if he's not good this year, then Colston Loveland still has a chance to be good the following year. And with tight ends, you don't want to pass on a prospect like Colston Loveland because he has a bad quarterback this year. Yeah, what's the purpose? Honestly, what's the purpose of doing that? But yeah, it still gives you round 1 capital for tight ends. Everything I listened to is who was I listening to? I think Fantasyland. Don't want to call him the wrong name, but can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. But basically, tight ends. What did he say? Top 12, but I don't care about top 12. But really, it's like the top 8 tight ends. And I want to say he said 80% for top 12, but it's probably like 70-something% for like the top 8 or top 6 tight ends, something to that effect. But so if he goes in that first round, Colston Loveland should shoot up just dynasty boards just in general, because he's going to hit, and he'll hit eventually. And my thing is, with running quarterbacks, usually, from what I notice, usually they need a security blanket. Cam Newton, he had Greg Olsen. Lamar has Mark Andrews. And then this will get Anthony Richardson, Colston Loveland. So I don't think it's as bad as what people think it may be, and honestly, it might set up Coastal Lovely something even better. Our next pick we have Omarion Hampton go to Denver at 20. Gives him round one capital, potential bell cow out there. He'll have be it a Sean Payton offense. Yeah, that would set Omarion up very nicely. Yeah, he would definitely be the RB1 out there. You have Javonte Williams gone. Audric Estime would. You honestly wouldn't even need Audric as the goal line back because Omarion Hampton's might not be just as big as Estime, but he's big enough. So that would give just room for Omarion to potentially be the 3-down workhorse because Omarion can catch too. And because I want to say he's caught like 30 something passes the past 2 years at least for at least 300 yards. So that would put him there. 21. Shedeur goes to Pittsburgh, and now I think he would start in Pittsburgh. It would just depend on if Aaron Rodgers goes there or not. I think if Aaron was to go there, basically Shedeur would have a redshirt year, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think Shedeur is actually a pretty good quarterback. He's accurate. You have two weapons in DK and Pickens, so that does help to have them on the outside. You still have Pat Freiermuth, who was actually pretty decent last year, even in not what people consider not necessarily the best offense, but still decent. You have Jaylen Warren. Not pretty sure they're going to get they're going to get a running back. I'm not sure. I know they don't have a second round pick, but they're getting a running back. So yeah, Shedeur to Pittsburgh. I think that's actually a pretty good move. I think it gives them a pretty solid floor. To be honest with you, Emeka Ibuka is the last one in the first round, and he goes to Washington. And now with Washington, I'm not sure how much playing time. Like he'll get playing time, but I'm not sure how effective he'll be that first year. Because you have Debo there. You have McLaurin, obviously, who's going to play on the outside. But what I always say is those guys, those wide receivers that are used to playing with other good players in college usually translate pretty well in the NFL. So I would be, honestly, it would give me some cause to pause on taking him. But I just have, in like the back of your mind, you have to remember that these guys, those type of receivers, tend to have a pretty safe floor. So I wouldn't mind taking a shot on him. So going to the second round, pick number 33, we have Jackson Dart. He goes early, round 2 to Cleveland, and now Cleveland had picked up Flacco. They picked up Kenny Pickett, and then they would have Dart. So I'm not sure if he goes in that second round. How Cleveland valued him, just because everything I keep hearing, second round quarterbacks. The thing is, he does have a rushing floor. I was going to say second round quarterbacks. Well, anything after the first round is really not a hit, but if you have a rushing floor, that should give you some. You should be pretty decent. And who was I listening to? Brett Whitfield, who was saying that Jackson Dart was his number one quarterback. So I'm interested to see how this goes. It's not necessarily the best spot because, well, you do have, if Travis Hunter is going to play primarily offense, you do have now Travis Hunter. You could potentially put Jerry Jeudy in the slot, but honestly, Travis Hunter needs to probably be like a Z receiver, or he could because you could put Travis Hunter in the slot. Honestly, that's probably where he's probably best at right now, anyway. It gives you a nice little size over the middle and whatnot. But yeah, and they still do have Tillman out there, so it might give them a pretty decent offense. It just depends on Dart's issue. From what I was reading, is that he primarily goes to his first read, and I think that's what all the young quarterbacks do, honestly. Because I was listening and said something about Cam Ward and Shedeur. So We'll see. We'll see. We'll see when actually evaluating these quarterbacks. Luther Burden, he goes 35 to Tennessee. I think people are saying that they wouldn't take him in the first because of him going to Tennessee. That's not the reason I wouldn't take him in the first. I wouldn't take him in the first because he was a slot only guy, and I was thinking people would want him to win on the outside. But if he goes to Tennessee, he doesn't necessarily have to win on the outside anymore. He can actually play the slot. And if he could actually play the slot, then Burden actually is someone to get. And then you have Cam Ward, who's as good as we're thinking. Then we actually have a dynamic situation with Calvin Ridley, who could play the outside, with Burden, who will be over the middle. And I guess if Treylon Burks is really the number 4 receiver, then we have that. But yeah, no, that's so Burden, we'll have Burden there. We'll keep Burden right there. Now, one of my favorite receivers but he goes to the New England Patriots, and I say that because it seems like New England does not have to know how to draft wide receivers. But Jaden Higgins goes 38 to the New England Patriots. I think that makes him immediate number 1 receiver because he could play on the outside. He fills that team's need. He's the top target, and it gives them great dynasty upside. You still have Pop Douglas there. Hunter Henry's still there. But people like Butte, Javon Baker, Polk, yeah, that honestly probably takes them out of consideration of being wide receiver number 1, and they would have to fit in where they get in, to be honest with you. And I think that's actually not a bad spot. It's a new regime in New England too now, so maybe that will change the situation up a little bit. Hopefully it does. Not truly sure, but maybe that'll change the situation up a little bit. But I like Jaden Higgins, so I think he could succeed there. Hopefully he would. But getting that early round 2 capital, yeah, for me, I think that would help me push him into that back end of that first round for me. I like him that much. Going 39, Travion Henderson to Chicago. That would be really good. Now, well, I say really good. That would be really good if DeAndre Swift is not on the team. Let me put it like that. Because if we're thinking of a Ben Johnson offense, he usually has thunder and lightning, right? But right now, if you have Swift and you have Travion, that's like lightning. That's like 2 bolts of lightning. I need a little bit of thunder. I need somebody to know the sound is coming. So I don't know how that would work unless DeAndre Swift is traded or moved on somewhere else, or that just means they're going to split time. And yeah, Travion. I think Travion will be good. Let me start off saying that. I don't know how good he could be if he's splitting time with DeAndre Swift. If he's splitting time with Roschon Johnson, then he can be good, because Roschon is not going to be asked to get a ton of work. And now keeping Travion upright, keeping him healthy, that is a concern. But I think if he stays healthy, he'll be fine and good to go. Number 40, we have Tyler Shuck. Found out his name is Shuck. Did not realize that. But he goes 40 to New Orleans. It's interesting. I think honestly that's like a developmental prospect situation. And to say that for him to be like 25, 26, that'd be tough, especially if he's expected to start. But then you still have Spencer Rattler. I don't think Jake Hayner is it. And I'm thinking of if Carr does not play. If Carr plays, then yeah, he's definitely backing Carr up. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't. If I'm New Orleans, I don't know if I take Shuck. But this is what the mock draft is saying, and quarterbacks do get pushed up all the time in drafts, as we saw last year with the 6 in the first round. So we Yeah, I'll take this as face value, but I wouldn't expect much, honestly, in this situation. We have Mason Taylor. We have Mason Taylor go to the Jets. Pick number 42. Yeah, that would change a few opinions on him, because that means he's the third tight end taken off this board. And so for him to get round 2 capital, that would give him opportunity to targets. I know they have Ruckert out there, but for him, and I don't think Ruckert went any high round. I know he's from Ohio State, but I don't think he went high in his particular draft. But for Mason Taylor to go to round 2, I think that we'll get some more eyes on him. That honestly will push people up people's draft boards, not necessarily mine, but I know he would go up people's draft boards. So that would be interesting. And I know Justin Fields is going to throw to the tight end sometimes. I do know that. And so if Mason Taylor can be the benefactor of that, yeah, that makes it all the better. We have number 44, Quinshon Judkins. He goes to Dallas. That would push him up. That would push him up into that, dare I say, number 3 running back. That could push him up all the way. Especially going to Dallas, going that type of offense, that dynasty value will skyrocket. Yeah, that might push him up number 3. Now, for me, it's not. I think I've made it clear in my previous videos. Ted McMillan would be going number 2 for me after, and then I got to decide on Hunter if Hunter is actually going to play receiver. But Judkins and most people after Hampton, and he might go over Hampton in some people's eyes if he goes to Dallas. Yeah, I would say, yeah, Judkins could be that pick. Okay, so pick number 47. Who do we have here? Pick 47. We have Jalen Noel. And Jalen Noel goes to Arizona. Not necessarily bad, but he would be playing the slot for sure. Let's see. You have Michael Wilson. You have McBride out there. Yeah, that would be tough. That would be tough for him because you still have Marvin Harrison out there. Yeah, that would be tough. Maybe he could do something out there. I'm not sure what that does to his dynasty value. Honestly, it might knock it down a bit, to be honest with you. Yeah, it might knock it up today because didn't Golden went to Arizona too. Let me scroll back up real quick just to make sure. But Golden went to Dallas in this draft. Okay, or I have him going to Dallas. Okay, so yeah, that definitely gets some cause for concern right there. Elijah Arroyo, he goes number 55, and he goes to the Chargers. So if Arroyo goes to the Chargers, whatever I just said about Mason Taylor, yeah, let's go ahead and cancel that because Arroyo becomes the number 3 receiver at that point. Yeah, honestly, there's no way because that's he would be the number 2 option just because Quentin Johnson is not catching the ball, and that's what they would be looking for. Honestly, that's what they would be looking for, and the open spot because they had Will Dissly, but Will Dissly's really not that type of tight end. You get him in there, all you would be hoping for is Arroyo stay healthy. If Arroyo stay healthy, yeah, that upside, yeah, because you have Justin Herbert already there. Yeah, that upside would be tremendous. 58, we have Jalen Royals going to Houston. Okay. Let me think. So, I don't think I mind it. Let me see. If Royals goes to Houston, let's see. We have Kirk there. We have Nico there. We have Schultz. Schultz, not really too much of a factor for real. It's not bad. Yeah, I would say it's a little crowded. Tank Dell's not healthy though, but maybe Royals, because Royals can play on the outside. I know people want to put him on the slot, but he can play on the outside if he needs to. So you could put him opposite of Nico if you had to. Now, Nico's going to grant a majority of those targets, so that might be a primary issue. But honestly, it's not that bad. Not that bad. Trey Harris goes 63 to Kansas City. I like Trey Harris a lot. And Trey Harris going to Kansas City. Now, he will have to compete with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce this year. And that should be about it as far as like receivers. So that would be interesting. Maybe you have to wait a year. And people already like he's an older receiver, so they're probably not going to want to do it. But, yeah, because he'd definitely be competing for targets. But it's not necessarily the worst situation. But, yeah, you would honestly be a stash at that point if he went to Kansas City. 65. We have Caleb Johnson to the Giants. If Caleb Johnson goes to the Giants, let me look at these running backs. No, he'd still be, the way the running backs are set up, he'd still be the 5th running back. But that right there, I think is a great opportunity. Yeah, he might. You have Tracy and you have Singletary out there, but I think that could be potentially a really good pick for him. That'd actually be really good for him. I would like that actually. Yeah, because he could potentially take Tracy's spot if Tracy keeps fumbling. Same thing. That's what happened to Singletary. Singletary kept fumbling the ball, and then Tracy came in, but Tracy's a little bit more explosive than Singletary. But honestly, Tracy's an older back himself. Tracy's like 25 already. So Caleb Johnson coming in there, young guy, 3 down potential. Yeah, no, he could potentially take that role. We have Kyle Williams. Let's put Kyle Williams on the Jets. Now, Kyle's not even in sleeper. Oh, yes, he is. There you go. He's in sleeper now. Okay, but let's think. Let's see. You have Garrett Wilson. We already took in Mason Taylor. It's not the worst thing in the world because he could play on the outside. He could play on the slot. Corley, I'm expecting they're thinking Corley could do something, but this is a new coaching regime, though. So we never know. But Kyle Williams, I think is solid. Honestly, I think that's solid for him to go there. Jack Besh to the Panthers. If Jack goes to the Panthers, let's think. You have Coker, and that's where I would want to play Besh in that Coker role as a big slot if he was to go there. So, but he could play on the outside if Leggett doesn't show up. I know the Panthers, they're expecting things from Leggett this year because if they don't get it, they're probably going to move on. Not necessarily trade him, but move on from him as like a potential number 1 guy. Coker could be that guy. I like Coker when I was scouting him at Holy Cross, and then Steve Smith kind of validated for me, listening to him. But yeah, Jack Besh to the Panthers, not necessarily a bad thing. All right, Quinn Ewers to Seattle. Now that right there, my friend, would be different. Because, he would definitely be in the backup role. That is round 3 capital, and from everything I hear, round 3 capital for quarterbacks, especially ones without rushing upside, turn it down. He's not playing over Darnold, not right now anyway. It would take an injury for him to play, but then you still have what's the other guy? I think Locke just went up there too, so. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Now the 83rd pick, and now don't forget. Remember, Pittsburgh did not have another pick in that second round, so Dylan Sampson goes to Pittsburgh here. Now the thing is, he didn't really catch the ball that much. Not necessarily saying he doesn't have the ability to, but he didn't really do it that much in Tennessee. But I honestly think he's a really good running back. I think I would have him slotted like either 5 through, let's just say 5 through 8. And I think the Steelers, it'll be something the Steelers are missing, especially playing with the plotting Najee Harris, and to get Dylan Sampson, have Jalen Warren. And Jalen Warren is a pretty stocky guy, if I remember right, and Sampson is definitely a home run hitter. So I think it might be nasty at first, but it could potentially turn into something. At 85, I have Terrence Ferguson to Denver. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Only thing is, they just signed Evan Ingram, so I don't really think he has the real true path to do anything. Yeah, you can stash him on your taxis or get him after the draft, but I don't think he'd really be able to do anything. Now, just reading this, I forgot that he did play with Bo Nix. So that is something to think about as well. But I think still he's not playing over Evan Ingram, though. Chargers, they take Torrey Horton, 86. I like the third-round capital for Torrey Horton. I think he was good at Colorado State. I believe like he has underlying metrics that shows pretty good. Now, he is kind of thin. Like when I say thin, kind of not as thin as who's the guy the Broncos took last year? Troy Franklin. Not that thin, because I think Troy was like 6'2", 6'3", 170. But Torrey is like 6'2" himself, like 180. But he's just coming off an injury. But there's opportunity there. If Quentin Johnson is not going to step up, he could be one of the deep threats. I know they did. I believe Mike Williams is back there, but he could be the next guy. You never know. You take a flyer on that type of guy. I like Torrey Horton. 87, the Green Bay. And to be honest with you, I'm not necessarily high on this prospect, and this would definitely make me a lot lower on him. But Alec Ayobana. So he still in the third round, so still good sign for the receivers on the receiver side. The Packers, they seem to like carrying a lot of receivers. So not necessarily a bad thing, but you still have to spread the ball out to all these different receivers. So I'm not necessarily sure if I would. It'd probably honestly push him down draft boards even further for me. Gunnar Helm goes to Jacksonville. I pick 88. I don't think Gunnar would be much of anything right there. Because you're still behind. I'm trying to think of all these names, but Brendan Strange, still behind Brendan Strange, and yeah, I don't think he really plays too much that first year, to be honest with you, offensively anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't even. Yeah. Honestly, after Arroyo, there's really just the opportunity dries up from everything I'm looking at. Next, we have Savion Williams to Seattle. Not necessarily worst thing. I think he's more of a project player, in my opinion, though. I don't think right now he's like a jack of all trades, and that's not necessarily the best thing, but he could do a little bit of everything. I don't think he's a true wide receiver. And at 6'5", I'm not sure how good of a running back he'll be, because he's not as big as like Brandon Jacobs or anything like that. So we'll see. He might be one of those guys. If he could be like a Taysom Hill type guy, that'll give you like NFL value. If he could be something like that. Cam Scatterbo to the Chiefs. Now, that would be interesting because I have a rookie draft going on now. I actually took Pacheco very late in the draft, later than where he should have fell. But Cam Scatterbo, that would scare me with my Pacheco share. That honestly would scare me because he can do everything, and I think all he needs is opportunity. So if he goes the third round to Kansas City, yeah, that would solidify him on my boards. I tell you that much. Definitely solidifies him. Pick 96, Harold Fannin to Philly. Now, I was listening to somebody earlier, and they didn't really like the pick. I actually don't mind this at all. Him going to Philly, he could be potentially the Goddard successor. Yeah, then because Jalen Hurts now, the thing is he's not going to have as much opportunity because you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith there, and of course Dallas Goedert, Saquon. So initially it might not materialize anything, but give it about a year or two. Similar to Goddard when Hurts was there. Give it about a year or two. Yeah, I think they would get off of Goddard if Harold Fanning has the potential to dominate like how he did basically against the FBS last year. Yeah, I think he has a shot. All right, going to the 4th round now. We have Jordan James. He goes to Cleveland. Now, Jordan James, I wouldn't say he's one of my top prospects, but he still a decent prospect. I think he in the 4th round though. Honestly, I think that still gives Ford. I think Ford would still be the starting running back in my opinion, if that was to happen. So, and now Jordan James gets sprinkled in there, but I think Ford would still be the starting running back. So that but Nick Chubb wouldn't be there anymore. So I guess we'd see about that. Next pick to New England, R.J. Harvey. Now, R.J. Harvey is my, I will say I won't say sleeper because it seems like everybody knows who he is now. But the opportunity exists now. Because if, who's my man? Ramondre Stevenson keeps fumbling, because we already know Antonio Gibson fumbles. If Ramondre Stevenson keeps fumbling, yeah, that is not going to work up there. And R.J. Harvey will be in that backfield, and I believe if R.J. Harvey gets a hold of that backfield, Ramondre will not get that backfield back. Because for Ramondre to be, I think he's like 6 foot 230 or close to 230, it's not like he's like a power guy. And R.J. Harvey is, right now, from everything I've been watching, everything I've been hearing, he's seems to be that guy. So I like that. Here, a guy I'm not necessarily high on, but this would make me look at him different. Ollie Gordon goes 4th round to Las Vegas. Now, Raheem Mostert just got signed there, so maybe he's competing with him. Maybe Raheem didn't necessarily look the best last year. Who was it? Sincere McCormick's out there. I think Ollie Gordon could win that spot. If Ollie Gordon, I'm not worried about the 4.640. If Ollie Gordon just needs a decent offensive line, I think, and he might be, because at 225? Let's give him 225. And let's say he comes in at 220. That's still enough power. And if he has any type of vision at all, that could be just a great landing spot for him to take over that backfield and just take over. So, like that. Next, we have Damian Martinez. Damian Martinez goes to the San Francisco 49ers. And so, now, the backfield is crowded, but there's a caveat to this. We have Christian McCaffrey, who we don't know what his Achilles are like. We don't know. We have Garindo, because they traded Mason. So we have Garindo. So honestly, and Garindo, it seems like anybody gets hurt in the Shanahan offense. Let's just put it like that. So there will come a time where Damian Martinez will get a chance to play. And if he shows out, because I believe Damian Martinez is a very good running back, and he could be a power guy. So if Damian Martinez shows out, he could definitely take that number 2 spot. And if McCaffrey can't go, it could be a 1A-B situation, or it could be his situation, because Shanahan will give it to the hot hand. So you have Damian Martinez. Trevor Etienne, he goes to Cincy. Now, I believe him going to Cincy would, for me, in the 4th round, would signal that Chase Brown is the starter, and that would solidify it for me. But he would still not be a bad running back to get. I believe They might use him in third down roles because he can catch, but I don't think he would. He wouldn't get really too much opportunity unless something happened to Chase Brown, in my opinion. Los Angeles Chargers, they take Basil Tutin. And now I got to remember, I don't think the Chargers took anybody else at a running back before this. Because if they didn't take anybody at running back, well, they got Najee. I forgot about Najee. So it would be Najee, Kamani Vidal? Only ones I'm really looking at there? And Kamani was a 4th-round pick. Basil, Kamani was a 6th-round pick, I think. And Basil will be a 4th-round pick. Yeah, I think this would be the ultimate situation for him. Yeah, because he's explosive. He's explosive as we've seen at the combine. Now, as far as a true great running back, how much of running back he is better than an athlete, not sure. But he would have opportunity though. Yeah, and in that Harbaugh system, if they could play 2 running backs, they will. Ty Felton, I have next going to Jacksonville. This honestly would just make him just like a stash guy. Because I couldn't see. Yeah, if you have a deep dynasty league, because I couldn't see him getting too much playing time, to be honest. Here, you have Kyle McCord go to the Rams. I'm not saying this is signaling anything for Stafford. McCord is, he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's getting much playing time here. You have DJ Giddens, who goes to Washington. Now, I like DJ Giddens, but I'm pretty sure Washington took somebody earlier. Didn't they take? Didn't they take Travion? Oh no, Travion went to Chicago, I think. Oh, now if they didn't take anybody, I do like that. Now, but you still have Brian Robinson, you still have Austin Eckler. So that, yeah, but I think I still would like that though. If it's just Brian Robinson and Eckler, I think DJ Giddens is actually a really good running back. And so Eckler will still have the 3rd down role, I believe, but DJ Giddens could eventually take Brian Robinson's spot. Now, health for both of those guys would be a main concern. But, yeah, I think, you just stash them. New Orleans, Devin Neal goes next. Now Devin Neal behind Kamara, that's going to be literally nothing. No opportunity. You're just waiting, and then you still have Kendre Miller. Hopefully, Kellen Moore likes him. Jalen Lane, he goes to Buffalo. There's opportunity. There's opportunity here, but it's not enough for Jalen to be, in my opinion. Is Jalen not even in here? Yeah, I don't think Jalen's even in here. Yeah, it's not enough opportunity, though, to I'm going to just put this Kroger guy in here. It's not enough opportunity for Jalen Lane to be truly anything in Buffalo, in my opinion. Dylan Gabriel goes to Miami. I guess gives them another quarterback. Not really going to do too much. Just a stash behind Tua. Arian Smith goes to the Giants. We are in the 5th round now. Pick 154. Goes to the Giants. Yeah, we're in the deep stashes now. I think I might talk. How many more? Oh, actually, I don't have that much left. Yeah, Arian Smith. Yeah, because actually, I need to see. Oh, did I miss somebody? Okay, I might miss somebody. Yeah, because I haven't taken Milrow. Hold on. Or Bond. Okay, I missed a lot of people on here. Oh, that's cool. I missed a ton of people then. Which draft board did I get? Well, I guess I didn't get the official one. Yeah, because there ain't no way. Because I was about to say, I got Restrepo, and Tez Johnson is definitely on there. Let me see. Did I skip anybody? Yeah, I guess I missed it somehow. That's fine. Yeah, Restrepo. Okay, so let me just keep going. You have Jaden Blue, who goes to Minnesota. Restrepo, that goes to Denver. And Monagai, that goes to Atlanta. So, oh no, I think I just missed some people. I missed Milrow somehow. Milrow was supposed to go after Jackson Dart. Okay. Yeah, so Milrow goes to the Giants. Jeez, how did I even miss that? Which isn't necessarily bad. Honestly, it's not bad. Yeah, him to the Giants. That's not bad. Now he does have to play behind Russ and Jameis, but his rushing upside could easily give him the advantage. Now, for the pass catchers, hit or miss, but Jalen Milrow actually has a great deep ball, so it's not the worst situation. But I'm not showing Isaiah Bond on here. That's the one that, because I said Restrepo already. Is there anybody else? Tez Johnson. She goes Jaden Blue. Okay. All right. I gotta look at my list again. Because there's no way Isaiah Bond should at least get drafted in the 5th round. I don't care. I know he has some issues here lately, but it's absolutely insane if he did not go in this draft at all. Hold on, I have to look this up because that can't be right. Yeah, because let me see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, somehow I don't know what. I'm not sure what happened because I got Isaiah Bond going to he's going to Green Bay. All right, I'm not sure what draft I got, but whatever draft I got, it was fun. I'll tell you that much. It sure was. But all right, that is going to be the end of this for me in this live stream. I think I was going to post it until certain players are not on here like they should be. So, yeah, I think I'm going to hold off and I'm going to wait. Yeah, I'm going to wait on this one. And then, yep. Yep. I'm going to make sure I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to just get in here. I'm going to just start talking. I think, because the other thing, actually, I guess before I go, let me get into what I wanted to talk about. I want to bring it up. Let me bring it up first about Derek Carr, because and I can't even find I wanted to find my notes on it because with Derek Carr, actually, I think I might have put it in here somewhere. But with Derek Carr, though, that situation is kind of crazy because the rumors are that Derek Carr doesn't want to be. Yeah, that he doesn't want to be in New Orleans. So, like the injury, he might be able to play through it. He might not. But I would have thought with Kellen Moore, like that might have changed that unless Kellen Moore came in there saying he wants a new quarterback. That's the only thing I'm not sure. But, okay, because like the reports are saying the shoulder injury is significant. But, so when I was looking stuff up, it was like, it might have been from an AC joint sprain that never healed in 2023. But now it's saying that might not be the case. And now with the contract, though, so it says, so Carr's deal, basically they converted a lot of his $40 million into his base salary. So $30 million to base salary, $10 million into roster bonus. And that created cap space. But the thing is, the dead cap that hits, it says it's $59 million in 2026 if he's cut. So that doesn't help. And I keep going here. Yeah, it's like that's the Saints' problem. They just honestly they gotta just stop and let the money, like, eventually you're gonna have to stop and just stop pushing the money forward, because that's what gets them in the cap hell all the time. So you have Spencer Rattler, who we still saw start, but he was 0-6 in his starts. Jake Haener, who struggled himself. Now you have Kellen Moore, who's probably going to want a new quarterback if Derek Carr can't go. So they might be there at 9. But the question is, do you take Shedeur or Jackson Dart? In my opinion, you take Shedeur. But Jackson Dart is gaining momentum now. So I think Shedeur has the higher floor. I don't think Jackson Dart has the higher floor or higher ceiling, because I think Shedeur actually has a pretty decent ceiling. Because I don't think you have that accurate down the field if you can't. Yeah, because I'm like, Shedeur is like getting the ball to everybody, but as we saw in this last mock draft that I did, but you have Tyler Shuck, who might be day 2. You have Jalen Milroe. You have Quinn Ewers. I don't see him taking Milroe. Well, I won't even say that, because you have Jalen Hurts, who he just had. So I won't even say that. Yeah, so you never know. But this is an interesting situation. Yeah, and just looking at the losers of this trade, not the trade, of the situation, obviously Derek Carr, fantasy value down the drain. You have Chris Olave, who without Derek Carr didn't like throwing to him anyway, so maybe Shedeur will throw to him. But yeah, Chris Olave, you don't have a real quarterback, because you don't want Spencer Rattler throwing to him. Same with Shaheed, because Shaheed was a target of Derek Carr, a major one, and I think I would prefer Milroe throwing to Rashid than Shedeur. Brandon Cooks, forgot he was on the team. Forgot he got there. But and they was talking about the winners of the deal. Of course, the quarterbacks, Taysom Hill, Juwan, but Taysom Hill not going to be back for a while. Juwan Johnson maybe. But Alvin Kamara could be, just because all the offense is going to go to him. But then all the defense are going to know that all the offense is going to go to him, so it might not necessarily be good for him. So it's just a bad situation all the way around. And yeah, hey, look, they need a quarterback, and they need a quarterback badly. But all right, that's going to be the end of the stream. I'm going to be, like I keep saying, I'm going to be more consistent. I'm going to make sure that I get on here at least once a day. I might get here on 11:59, but I'm going to get here at least once a day. But I would say, if you like it, subscribe, all that stuff. I forgot some players, obviously, on here that I should have taken. These two in particular, I did take a stripper. I'm pretty sure Will Howard would have went. Tez Johnson should have went somewhere. Brashard Smith, because I had Monagai, but not Brashard Smith. I think Gatson even would get taken in this draft. That might be everybody. I think even one of the Colorado receivers would get taken. Even Isaac Tesla's on board. So Dante Thornton, yeah. Whatever I had, we missed a lot of prospects. I'll just say that. But I'm gonna get better. I'll just say that. Like, subscribe. I'll keep coming out with the content. You just keep watching.